Well, you guys voted, and you will receive. This is an entire video talking about the entire history of my train layout. But before we continue, this video is dedicated to my great-uncle, Jim. He unfortunately passed away last year on Thanksgiving Day from a heart attack. This video is dedicated to him as a result, as he gave me my first model train. Thank you. It all began in 2016, when my great-uncle Jim gave me my first train set. It was a simple, cheaper set. It was a Marx 999 with a New York Central tender, a Pacific Fruit Express Southern Pacific boxcar with a tank car, a Baltimore and Ohio gondola, and a New York Central pacemaker caboose. This made up my first set. And soon, in 2020, or 2021, I can't remember when, I decided to go downstairs and set it up as a simple loop of track. Now, I was very young at the time, and I'm surprised I even filmed it running. But at the time, you get what you get, I guess. The locomotive's headlight did not work because it wasn't screwed in all the way. I only found this out later when I opened it. The locomotive also didn't have a rear wheel, if you noticed, and the 999s are usually 242s. This made it a 240. And before anyone says anything, yes, I actually figured out this engine is modeled after the New York Central Hudson. You can tell by the design. The number plate doesn't count. Marx did that with most of their locomotives. But yeah, this started my first ever, exposure to model trains. And this would not be the last. Another notable thing about this old layout is because of the way my basement is built, there is no wall outlets that reach all the way to, close to the floor. They're all on the ceiling. So every time I'd have to run the train, I would have to plug it and then plug it back in from the wall outlet. Not the wall outlet, the ceiling outlet. Every time I wanted to run it. This got really annoying really quickly, so sooner down the line, I got an extension cord, plugged it in, then plugged it into the bottom. It worked, so I'm not complaining. Nowadays, I have multiple extension cords heading down. It's kind of interesting to think about how we went from this to this, but, I guess that's with model railroading. You continuously improve over time. Unfortunately for the 999, I soon packed it up and put it back in its original box. And I did something I still kinda regret. So, here's a little bit of quick history. When around the time I got the 999 set, I started to build a small Lego city on my dresser in my room. The photos you are seeing are the only photos I have of it from when I made small stop-motion shorts in 2017 with a horribly made clay Gumby.
Ugly.
Yeah, I don't know if I should release those to the public yet. We'll see, though. So around that time, I moved downstairs and made a Lego layout out of some old Lego stuff I had. P.S. While editing this, I just realized that I forgot I put the N-scale stuff with the, L gauge stuff, or the Lego gauge. Whoops. But this is mostly talking about the layout itself and not the N-gauge stuff. If you guys want a video on the N-gauge stuff, you're not gonna get one. Sorry. It was run by two locomotives, the Hogwarts Express and the Crocodile locomotive. Now, both engines are interesting in their own sense, but we'll focus on the layout itself. I will say this, the Hogwarts Express, if you will notice in some of my short videos, still exists. It is on the Lego brick curve on the current layout preserved. The crocodile is a whole different story, but we'll talk about that later. The layout only lasts a few months, before it was torn down. The photo you're seeing is the only surviving photo of it in existence. Kinda surprising? Yeah. Anyways, after this, we get to another era of the 999. Let's go. After the failure of the Lego layout, I then set up the 999 again with its own loop of track. This time, however, it was a lot more successful. I ran it almost every day. Some parts of the line were a little sketchy. However, later down the line, I noticed that 999 was having problems with its gear, so I had to sideline it. Then I bought my first locomotive that I, bought from eBay, which is the Marx 666, which I'm so happy with that purchase because it has a smoke unit, so I could finally use up my Mega Steam. So, we had these two running, except 999. Then, after the 666 arrived, I then set plans for January, where I would get a new motor for 999 that would be close enough to the original. However, plans changed. On Christmas morning, I woke up to see a Lionel Lion Chief set at the Christmas tree. This was interesting, it was new and exciting, and I had been researching the locomotive. The locomotive was an Oedo 426 named the Keystone, came with a green boxcar, a flatbed with a light car, and a streamlined caboose. Later down the line, I also got a gondola and a flatbed with it, so it had a complete train. These guys ran the layout for quite a while. And then, something big happened. Soon, on my birthday, I received a Plymouth Switcher 9431 of the Pennsylvania Railroad, which is a Lino Junction set. At the time, my layout was still tubular track, but my grandpa and I had decided to change it into fast track. The reason why is because fast track was more readily available in my area, so I decided to switch it to that. So we soon switched it to that, and everything ran pretty smooth throughout there. We couldn't run the 999 on it thanks to its flanged wheel, so we decided to make a layout for itself. Now, this era only lasted a little while. The fast track stayed, but in October of that year, a new locomotive came. So, this is part 1, because I'm not feeling good right now. Part 2 will come out, I don't know when. Probably soon. If you want to figure out when it's coming out, please subscribe, then you'll actually see part 2. But anyways, see you later. Bye.